I'm 79. I'm 4 months shy of being 80 years old. And when you've lived this long, if you go a timeline, you can learn a lot about a person's life. You can just learn a lot in a timeline. So I thought I'd read here for you a timeline of some of the events that have taken place in my life. In May of 1940, my father, Dwayne Sampson, saw Phyllis Tripp for the first time at the Quality Market in Delta, Utah. Love immediately followed. On February 20th, 1941, my parents were married in the Manti Temple. It was a Thursday. On February 22nd, 1942, I managed to get myself born in Delta, Utah, to Dwayne Sampson and Phyllis Tripp. I'm told it was a chilly Sunday afternoon. I came into the world for $90, and my dad said I was worth every penny. On July 6, 1942, I was given a name and a blessing by George Alma Sampson, my grandfather. This took place in Delta, Utah. On January 15, 1942, the world's largest office building, the Pentagon, is completed to house the U.S. military. So that's 1942, and it's when I was born. In 1943, there's a couple of things that were interesting. The food nachos was invented. Also in 1943, Philip Morris, a cigarette company, ran an ad acknowledging smokers' cough. They claimed it was caused by smoking brands other than Philip Morris. In 1944, this is April 14, 1944, my father, Dwayne Sampson, was certified as fit to serve in the U.S. Army. In November of 1944, my father, Dwayne Sampson, was drafted into the World War II just before the Battle of the Bulge. In December of 1944, Dwayne Sampson attended basic training at Camp Roberts near Paso Robles, California. We now go to 1945. April 12, 1945, Franklin Delano Roosevelt died of a cerebral hemorrhage. In March 12, 1945, Anne Frank, a Dutch diarist and Jewish victim of the Nazi Holocaust, dies of typhus in the Belsen concentration camp at age 15. On May 7, 1945, the Germans surrendered in World War II. September 7, 1945, the Japanese surrendered, bringing World War II to a close. On January 10, 1946, the first man-made contact with the moon was made as the U.S. Army bounced radar signals off the lunar surface from Belmar, New Jersey. In June of 1946, June 9th, Joe Louis KOs Billy Conn in 8 rounds for a heavyweight boxing title. July 26, 1946, Dwayne Sampson returned from World War II, his last assignment being Fort Shafter in Honolulu, Hawaii. I remember he brought home a duffel bag full of candy. He was afraid I wouldn't remember him, and he wanted to make sure he could win over my heart. On September 15th, 1946, the Dodgers beat the Cubs 2-0 in 5 innings. The game was called because of gnats. In October 1946, Dwayne and Phyllis Sampson moved to 6 Mile, Utah, which was 6 miles from Callio. This is on the Pony Express Trail. In November 15th of 1946, Ted Williams was picked as the American League Most Valuable Player. On April 10, 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first black player of the 20th century to sign a Major League Baseball contract. Brooklyn's general manager, Ranch Rickey, announced Dodgers had bought Robinson's contract from the Montreal Royals. July 18, 1947, my baby sister, Valyn Sampson, was born in Delta, Utah. It was a Friday. In October 1947, Dwayne and Phyllis, Dennis and Valyn moved to Draper, Utah. On July 30th, 1948, Mahatma Gandhi, assassinated by Hindu extremist Natharam Godse. On February 2, 1948, President Harry Truman urged Congress to adopt a civil rights program. On May 14, 1948, Golda Meirson is one of the signatories of Israel's Independence Declaration. On August 16, 1948, Babe Ruth died of cancer. In 1949, world leaders are Harry Truman, 33rd U.S. President, Joseph Stalin, Soviet General Secretary, Mao Zedong, Chinese revolutionary and chairman of the Communist Party. In February 1949, Dwayne and Phyllis, Dennis and Valyn moved to Cedar City, Utah for 2 months. In the spring of 1945, I fell off of a slippery slide at the Draper, Utah Elementary School, receiving a brain concussion. I've never been the same. On January 31, 1950, U.S. President Harry Truman publicly announced support for the development of a hydrogen bomb. February 12, 1950, Albert Einstein warns against a hydrogen bomb. April 1950, Dwayne and Phyllis Dennis and Valyn moved to 3316 South, 3040 East, Salt Lake City, Utah. On January 24, 1950, Jackie Robinson signed the highest contract in Dodger history, $35,000. In June 25, 1950, North Korea invaded South Korea. So that represents the first 8 years of my life and gives you just an idea of some of the things that have taken place in my lifetime. Hope you enjoyed.